Hi everyone, it's Anne with Art on the Creek. Thanks for joining me today. We're here in my home studio in Parker, Colorado, and it is Sunday, which means it's time for another review. A while ago, I took a look at these, the Winsor Professional Watercolor Markers, but today I've got their counterpart. I have the Faber-Castell Professional Watercolor Markers. We're going to compare them, see what the difference is, see which one we like better, and are they worth getting? Maybe it depends on what kind of art you do. Let's go find out. Here we go. When I got these, I wanted to compare which one I liked better, which one performed better, and I do like drawing some cartoon style art, and I think that's where these really shine. I think it's where they excel. They say that these are pigment based. They act like a dye. I don't know. It says highly pigmented watercolor. So I don't know what to tell you, because to me this looks like a dye, although it does flow like watercolor. This is 100% cotton cold press watercolor paper, and I like the look of it, but it also looks to me like it suits more of a style for comic books or characters. It's very graphic, very bold, and I do like that, but I feel like that's the kind of art that suits this best. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll put a card up here to this review of this set here. This is the basic tone set. And it comes with alizarin crimson, cad yellow, ivory black, Prussian blue hue, sap green, and a yellow ochre. It's a nice basic set for mixing. You can mix these on a palette. Everything is, you can use them exactly like you would a liquid watercolor. Or you can use them straight from the marker and use them like markers. And this set here that I got today by Faber-Castell, or that I have for you today rather, comes also with sort of a primary bent to it. Get the plastic off here. Okay, there are 5 in this set, whereas there are 6 in the Winsor Newton set, and I will put prices up right here at the bottom. This one does have a light fastness rating. Do these? I would imagine that these, if they do, it would be depending on what those pigments are. The website simply says highly pigmented, light fast color. But we'll focus on this one today, and I'll link to this one so that you guys can compare. But at any rate, all of these have 3 stars with the exception of the green, which is 2 stars. 3 says maximum light fastness, 2 is high light fastness, and then 1 is reasonable light fastness. So I don't know, that's pretty subjective. What's reasonable? That's okay. I love Faber-Castell, and I don't mean to fault the way that they do things. I just think that's a funny kind of a way to say it. Okay, so their watercolor marker. It says they are new and they allow you to work at the highest level with precision and spontaneity. I do like that, and that is true. You can make a lot of dynamic lines and really do some quick blending with them. The highly pigmented water-based ink. Now these say that they're ink, and the other ones say that they are watercolor. So that's a difference right there. Water-based ink has an excellent water solubility, does not bleed through papers, and has outstanding light fastness. I did not find the Promarkers to bleed through papers either, but it could have been the kind of paper I was using. So let's compare here. This one has a brush tip and a bullet tip. And I want to say, let's go ahead and open this. I keep saying I'm not going to show you these, but here I go, breaking my promise. Well, I can look right on there. It's got a brush tip and a bullet tip also. But let's just compare, shall we? Okay, so I've got it out now. All right, there is a notation here as to which tip is which. This is the bullet tip on this end, and on this end, I think, no, that's the brush tip. See, I would make this the brush tip, but maybe not because it looks like a bullet. I don't know, but here's the bullet tip. So you can see that the Faber-Castell bullet tip is bigger. The nib is a lot bigger, and it doesn't come to quite as fine of a point, but we'll compare all of that. Set all my lids over here. And the brush tip The Faber-Castell brush tip on my right here is a little more tapered, rounded, whereas the Winsor Newton brush tip is a little more pointed. They both look like they have a fabulous point, but the Faber-Castell nib is wider. So let's do some comparison. I won't use yellow because that's the worst color for you guys to see. Let's use, get all these, so many caps. So many, oh, look at that. See, I want that to go over there. Okay. Just parenthetically, both of them have this little thing here, which is great because it keeps them from rolling off your table. Well, it's supposed to anyway. I guess there's two of them, so it'll stop it from rolling one way or the other. And this one has it as well too, so that they won't roll off the table, which I really, really like because I'm a clumsy gal. Okay, let's do blue. Let's just test with blue, shall we? Let me get out. Now these blues are going to be different. This is the Winsor Newton blue. I remembered which one was the brush tip. So again, this is the 100% cotton cold press paper. Let's just make a few lines here. This is the Winsor Newton. And we'll go over to the bullet tip. Okay. And then now with the Faber-Castell, we'll do the same test up here. We'll make some lines. They feel the same. They both feel good. Oh, that was this down here. That looks about the same as far as detail that you could get. And let's see what kind of fine line we can get here. About the same. Let's go to some blending, shall we? I like using here, these Treckel brushes are nice to blend marker with. This is a number 6. It's the Protégé series, which I believe is an imitation Kolinsky sable. Not 100% sure on that one, but here is how they blend out. This is the Winsor Newton blending out on 100% cotton paper. And you can see you do end up with your line. So there's no way to really get rid of that. So that's something to remember when you're coloring with these, is that you won't be able to totally dissolve your line. Let's see how the Faber-Castell works. Well, these lines dissolve a little bit more than the Winsor Newton. So see, that's important to me. Let's see if we can get this to dissolve a little bit more. And we really can't. Can you see how these lines are fainter than these, the initial laydown of the marker? So this is the Faber-Castell. We should write that down, FC, and this is Winsor Newton. So at first glance, my choice would be this one, but I do like the color of this blue. That's a nice blue. Not that I dislike this one over here. What are they calling this blue? They call this one a phthalo blue. Let's go ahead and swatch these out. I have this paper. It's Fabriano student grade watercolor paper. It's their studio paper, and I really like it for a couple of things. This one I really liked for ink. So it's their hot press, and it's got 25% cotton. Let's just see what this is like on here. Now we're going to go ahead and do some swatches. All right, I've got this sped up a little bit here, so I'm just going right on the top, Faber-Castell watercolor markers, and let's see what we've got here. The first one is a dark chrome yellow, and then we've got pale geranium lake, phthalo blue, dark phthalo green, and that's the one that only has the 2 stars, and then finally a black. So what I'd like to do is just do 3 swipes on each one and then see what kind of a blend I can get. So the lines that you initially put the pigment down, they don't disappear completely. They just don't. And you'll notice how sheer that color spreads out. You can put layers on. You can do layer after layer. And you'll notice the black is a really nice black. It doesn't separate into different colors. Trying to get a gray, we can mix the green and the red on a palette. The purple looks very nice with the blue and the red. And then let's try to mix an orange with this red and yellow, and it's very nice, very pale, a good orange. All of these things would be helpful to you If you're doing some kind of art that maybe you just want to put down a base layer, or if you're just trying to just paint with these, you can really layer with them because they do stay sheer. They're very transparent. Once they're on the paper, though, if you look closely at those two greens there, and on that green swatch on the very bottom, once you get that initial pigment laid down, it's very hard to move it because these do go into the paper very quickly. And I found that to be true on this paper that's 25% cotton, as well as a paper that is 100% cotton. So that's something definitely to be aware of. And that's where you might want to change the way that you create. Or these are for you or they aren't for you. So that's something to keep in mind. You could definitely mix a full range of complexion with this set if you're into painting portraits of any kind or anime characters. And here we can make some shadow tones by mixing each color individually with the black. And that creates a lovely forest green. If you do plan on swiping the marker on a palette and then painting from it like you would watercolor, you're going to be doing that swiping an awful lot. So you can really do quite a bit with these. The question is, would you? And what kind of art are we going to try and make with this? Well, for me, the answer is kind of a no-brainer. I think what we're going to paint is a little bit of Mike Wazowski here from Monsters, Inc. I know that I've drawn him before on this channel, but he's pretty easy to draw, so we can get into him here fairly quickly. Now, when I'm doing this drawing here, I decided I didn't want to use a pencil because I didn't want to have any pencil lines show up at all. These are really very transparent, which can be a plus or a minus. I think if you are an anime or a manga artist, or if you just like drawing any kind of Marvel or Disney art, these are really fun to use. The paper that I'm using is a little bit challenging in that you have to go fast or work in small sections, and by the nature of these, when they grab onto the paper, and this is true no matter what kind of paper you're using. I have used mixed media paper with these. I've used 100% cotton. I've used this 25% cotton. It seems that no matter what paper you use with these markers, that pigment, when it first goes down, whether you're painting it on or actually physically drawing it on with the marker itself, it holds on. And blending, yeah, you can blend, but it's going to have just a bit of residual to it. It's going to stay a little bit where you put it down first. So that's something to remember, and that's why I'm mixing the green and the yellow here. The green is a little bit cooler of a green than Mike Wazowski is, so I wanted to warm it up with some of that yellow. And then you can see how it's fairly easy to blend and mix, but you do have to kind of hustle when you're using this. You kind of have to stay focused and keep that blending going. Now, once you're practiced at it, no problem. And yes, I know I got his hands way too small. Perhaps he's a blend of T-Rex and and Mike Wazowski, but you know, that's okay. We're just here. We're just playing today. His little horns were very easy to mix that gray, and I think I just used the primaries to mix a gray for that. And then for his teeth, I mixed the black and the green to outline the teeth and then fill in his mouth. So you can see here how streaky it gets when you're filling in the mouth, but then if you go back with another layer, you can really correct that very simply. I have a feeling that once you get the knack of these things, they're a blast. And I feel that way because I enjoyed this so much more than my initial test with the Winsor Newton Promarkers. Honestly, they're about the same. I feel like these are an awful lot of fun, and I love how juicy they are, how wonderfully they go down. I love that they both have light fastness ratings. I don't know in quantity, you know, how do you quantify excellent, adequate? You know, the terms that they use to rate their light fastness, at least Faber-Castell's, seem a little bit subjective, and the Winsor Newton ones just kind of vaguely states that it's light fast. So you might want to do your own light fastness testing with this. I think it's wonderful if you're using it as a base layer to then go over later in something like colored pencil. You can use them in combination with any water-based media. So that means acrylic inks, acrylic paints for that matter, watercolor, any kind of hydrous watercolor, or, you know, right out of the tube, out of the pan, anything like that, any kind of ink. These will work with that process, and you can really have a lot of fun building your art repertoire. You don't have to draw comics with these, but I do like to do that. So, oh, I had to look up how to spell Wazowski. But here he is, here's Mike, and I really think that this paper really kind of shines. I'm going to do a quick test here with the Faber-Castell on the cotton paper. So let me slow down for this one, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. So what I've done is I'm trying to replicate that tulip that I made there with the Winsor Newton a while back on the other video, and I'm just using the same colors in the same way. I noticed that it blends a little bit more smoothly. So that's the real difference right there, is that the Faber-Castells seem to blend a little bit better, which in my mind provides a bit more of a smooth transition in my style of art as well. It just provides a smoother transition between colors. You don't have to have the abrupt stops. I do really like this. This was a lot of fun. The 100% cotton paper is equally fun. I wonder though if it's going to wear out the nibs. I think you'd be better off using a smoother paper with these all together. The plus is it doesn't have to be cotton. I think a cellulose paper would be fine for working with marker art, and that way you can just get something that's really affordable and just use a mixed media pad and probably have the time of your life just coloring away with these things. The colors are very bright. They're very vibrant. You can mix on a palette like I've shown you. However, you're going to be loading that palette over and over and over again because very little pigment goes down, and then what you can put on your paper is very sheer. So if that's the style that you like to do, then these are going to be great for you. I want to do a little bit of a rainbow mix here just to kind of see how the Faber-Castells mix on this cotton paper, because I felt like I didn't really give them enough of a chance on the cotton paper. So I'll do the same thing here with the Winsor Newton, just lay down a little rainbow, and you can see the colors are pretty close. You know, of course they're going to be a little bit different. The Winsor Newton red is a little bit more pale than this one, but that's okay. You know, they each have a good range of markers available, so you wouldn't have to rely on just these colors. And I will lay those out in the description so that you can see exactly what the colors are. So here's the thing. The Faber-Castells blend easier. You can see it. You can see on the right hand side here, you can see how much pigment is immediately absorbed into the paper and not blended together. The purple in particular that I mixed at the bottom, I tried to do it again on the Winsor Newton because it didn't get that good of a mix. So taking a closer look at it, if you look on the left now is the Faber-Castell. That purple mixed very, very well. On the right with the Winsor Newton, it's not as vibrant, it's not as bright. I tested it twice. The red and the blue marker just really went right down into that paper, and it just didn't want to let go, didn't want to mix. So now I'm just putting some drops of water in there to show you that you really can do just about everything that you normally would be able to do with watercolor with these. You can even put salt down. You can do all kinds of special effects. I have used salt on markers, a wet marker, and it's worked really well. You won't see the granulation though that you would with traditional watercolor. That's just not going to happen. So you know what? These are a lot of fun. What is my bottom line? Which one do I like better? I feel like if you are inclined to get these markers at all, I would lean toward the Faber-Castell. Now, neither one of these sets have a huge selection, and I will outline all of that in the description. But I lean toward the Faber-Castell because they blend on paper easier. And if you're getting a watercolor marker, that's why you're getting it, is so that it blends on paper. And I just feel like since both of them have some kind of statement about light fastness, go with the Faber-Castell. You'll have an easier time blending. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed Mike Wazowski coming to life. And thanks again for watching another review. If this sort of thing interests you and you think it might interest a friend, please consider sharing this video. That really does help my channel. And I love it when you like and comment because you guys give me the best feedback. And if you have any other questions about this, let me know. I'm happy to answer those for you. Everybody have a great week. Take care now. Bye-bye.